Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. I'm getting married in just 2 months, and the excitement is really starting to sink in. Recently, I decided to go wedding dress shopping, which, as every bride knows, is one of the most special and emotional parts of wedding planning. It's the moment when you get to see yourself as a bride surrounded by the people who love and support you. Naturally, I wanted my closest friends with me for this experience. I also extended an invitation to my stepmother, Clara, and her daughter, Brianna. To give some background, my dad is currently married to Clara. She's not your stereotypical wicked stepmother. In fact, she's nothing like that. She's actually really kind, easygoing, and has always been respectful toward me. My dad married her when I was already in college, so I never went through that awkward transition of having to adjust to a new parental figure in my childhood or teenage years. If anything, I was happy for him. I wanted him to find someone who would make him happy again, someone he could share his life with. I never wanted him to feel lonely. You see, my biological mother passed away in a freak accident years ago. It was completely unexpected, one of those tragic moments that turns your world upside down in an instant. Her passing was absolutely devastating, especially for my dad. My parents had the kind of marriage that people dream about. They never fought, at least not in front of me. Our home was always filled with warmth and laughter. They were the type of couple who would take evening walks together, always hand in hand. They cheered me on at every school play and every recital, never missing a single moment of my life. One of my favorite memories was how my dad would bring my mom fresh flowers every Sunday without fail. It wasn't just a routine. It was his way of showing her love in the simplest yet most beautiful way. Sundays in our home were special. We would have barbecues in the backyard, and my parents would dance to loud music like no one was watching. My mom had such a beautiful spirit, and losing her was like losing a part of my heart. After she passed, my dad completely shifted his focus. He didn't date, didn't even entertain the idea of finding someone new for a long time. He became a single father, pouring all his love and energy into raising me. It was like he made a silent promise to himself that he would make sure I never felt like I was missing out on anything. Even though we both knew nothing could replace my mom. That's why when he eventually met Clara, I wasn't upset or resentful. If anything, I was relieved. I wanted him to find happiness again. I wanted him to have someone to share his life with, to talk to at the end of a long day, to grow old with. And Clara, to her credit, never tried to take my mom's place. She's always been kind and understanding, and for that I've respected her. The only real issue in my dad and Clara's relationship has always been Brianna, Clara's daughter. Brianna is 3 years younger than me, and while she does have a biological father, he's barely present in her life. He rarely visits or makes an effort to be there for her, which has left Clara as her primary parent. Because of this, Brianna is extremely attached to her mom, almost to the point of being possessive. When Clara and my dad first started dating, Brianna did not take it well at all. She was incredibly jealous and went to extreme lengths to try and break them up. It wasn't just minor sulking or attitude. She actively tried to sabotage their relationship by making up outrageous lies about my dad. One of the worst incidents happened when Brianna told Clara that she had caught my dad texting other women and having inappropriate conversations behind her back. Naturally, Clara was deeply upset and believed her daughter. She immediately confronted my dad about it, who was completely blindsided. He was shocked by the untrue accusation and didn't hesitate for a second. And he handed his phone over to Clara right then and there, telling her to check for herself. And of course, there was absolutely nothing there. No suspicious messages, no secret conversations, nothing. Both Clara and Dad confronted Brianna, who tried to hold on to the story until she had no choice but to come clean. She admitted that she had made the entire thing up. She had lied, fully knowing how much damage it could cause. She wanted her mother to break up with my dad. My dad was deeply hurt. He had always treated Clara and Brianna with kindness. And for Brianna to try and destroy his relationship with Clara, like that was painful and disappointing. He told Clara very honestly that if Brianna was going to continue behaving this way, then maybe it was best for them to break up. He wasn't willing to stay in a relationship where someone was deliberately trying to ruin his reputation and cause unnecessary drama. That conversation was a wake-up call for Clara, because she sat Brianna down for a serious talk. Afterward, Brianna apologized to us and promised that she would never do something like that again. At the time, we all wanted to believe her, and we hoped that things would get better. But looking back, I can't say with confidence that she ever fully changed. Even though Brianna has technically kept her promise about not making up lies, it's painfully obvious that she still doesn't like us, and we hope she's never truly accepted my dad. And deep down, I think she has always wanted her mother all to herself. It's as if she sees my dad as an intruder rather than someone who genuinely loves and cares for Clara. When Clara and my dad got married, Brianna actually tried to sabotage their wedding. She got drunk and then deliberately spilled red wine all over Clara's white wedding dress and ruined it. It wasn't an accident. It was her way of lashing out, of trying to destroy what was supposed to be one of the happiest days of her mother's life. And if that wasn't bad enough, she later took the microphone and gave the most bitter, spiteful speech. Instead of toasting to their new marriage like everyone else, she stood there in front of all the guests and ranted about how her mother had betrayed her by marrying my dad. She went on about how she had always wished her mother would patch things up with her deadbeat father, as if that was ever a real possibility. It was heartbreaking to watch because, in her mind, she just couldn't accept that her mom had moved on and found happiness with someone who actually treated her well. Fast forward to today, Clara insists that Brianna is doing much better. Apparently, she's been going to therapy, and according to Clara, it's helping her. But to be completely honest, I don't believe it. Brianna is still mean and rude to me every single time we see each other. There's always this tension when she's around, like she's just waiting for an opportunity to say something nasty or make things uncomfortable. If it weren't for Clara, I wouldn't even bother including her in any of my family events. She brings nothing but negativity, and I don't see why I should keep pretending to have a bond with someone who clearly resents me. Now coming back to my wedding dress shopping after spending the whole day trying on different dresses. Nothing really stood out to me. I just wasn't feeling any of them. So when we got back home, I decided to show the girls my late mother's wedding dress. It was the dress she had worn on her own wedding day, and it meant the world to me. I had been toying with the idea of wearing it for my own wedding, but before making a final decision, I wanted the opinions of my family and friends. I wanted to see if they thought it was a good idea, or if maybe I was just being too sentimental. It was such a special moment seeing myself in the same dress my mom wore on her wedding day, surrounded by the people I cared about. There was a collective agreement that while the dress was beautiful, it could use a few alterations to fit me perfectly and maybe add a modern touch. One of my friends, who is great at tailoring, even offered to help make those adjustments for me. It felt like everything was falling into place, and I was so happy to have found a meaningful way to honor my mom on my wedding day. But then, out of nowhere, Brianna decided to ruin the moment. With a snarky tone, she scoffed and said that she would never be caught dead wearing a dress like that. I was stunned. It was such an unnecessary, hurtful comment. And she didn't stop there. She continued by saying that maybe for someone like me, the dress looked appealing, but in her opinion, it was too plain and horrendous for a wedding. The room went silent. Everyone just froze, processing what she had just said. I could feel my chest tighten and a wave of hurt washed over me. It wasn't just about her insulting my taste in dresses. She was insulting something that held deep sentimental value. This wasn't just any dress. It was my mother's last memory, something that represented love, family, and tradition. Sure, it needed a few modern touches, but that didn't give Brianna the right to tear it down so cruelly. Before I could even respond, Clara immediately stepped in. She turned to Brianna, clearly upset, and told her that she was being extremely rude. She pointed out how wearing my mother's dress was a beautiful way for me to honor her memory, and how it showed what a loving daughter I was. However, Brianna didn't even look the slightest bit sorry for what she said. Instead, she just snorted and, with a smug expression, added, "I don't care. This dress is just ugly. I can't believe her mother had such bad taste." The second those words left her mouth, the entire atmosphere in the room shifted. My friends all looked absolutely furious. I felt my hands clench into fists, but I took a deep breath and calmly told Brianna, "If you don't have anything good to say, you can leave." Instead of showing any remorse, she got up with an amused smirk on her face, like she was enjoying the reaction she had caused. As she walked toward the door, she sneered, "Well, don't ask for my opinion if you're not mature enough to take it." I was seething inside, but I held my composure. I refused to give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose my temper. Deep down, I knew that arguing with her wouldn't lead anywhere. Brianna wasn't someone who would ever admit she was wrong. Later that evening, Clara pulled me aside for a private conversation. She told me that she completely understood why I was hurt by Brianna's comments, but she thought I should have just let it go. She said that fighting with Brianna would only escalate things further, and she urged me to talk it out with her daughter instead. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Brianna had just insulted my mother's memory in the most disgusting way. And somehow, I was the one being told to make peace. I wasn't the one who started this. I wasn't the one who made cruel, unnecessary comments. Yet here I was, being asked to smooth things over, as if I had done something wrong. At that moment, I realized that no matter how much Clara tried to be fair, she would always have a blind spot when it came to her daughter. Brianna could say or do the most hurtful things, and somehow there would always be an excuse, a reason why I should be the one to be the bigger person. But I am tired of always being expected to let things slide. Honestly, I don't think I did anything wrong by engaging with Brianna. She was the one who started insulting me in the first place. But I also respect Clara, so I wanted to come here on Reddit to ask if I am the a-hole here. Not the a-hole. Brianna's behavior is straight up vile. She didn't just insult OP's dress. She insulted OP's late mother's memory, and that's beyond cruel. The fact that she doubled down and said OP's mom had bad taste shows that she wanted to hurt OP. This isn't about honesty or opinions. It's about jealousy and resentment. OP has handled her with more grace than she deserves. Excluding her from the wedding isn't petty. It's self-preservation. Why should OP let someone who takes pleasure in tearing others down be part of one of the happiest days of her life? And now let's hear community's opinion. You are absolutely not the a-hole. I get that Clara wants peace, but constantly asking you to be the bigger person, while Brianna keeps crossing every line imaginable, is not fair to you. That's emotional exhaustion disguised as maturity. Brianna has proven time and time again that she's not interested in changing. She just wants attention, even if it's negative. You're doing the right thing by setting a boundary. If you allowed her at the wedding, she'd find a way to ruin it, whether it's a scene, an insult, or a white dress stunt. Don't feel guilty for protecting your peace. Wow, your stepsister sounds like she's made it her personal mission to make everything about herself. Calling your late mother's wedding dress ugly is one of the most heartless, attention-seeking things I've ever read. You gave her kindness, inclusion, and multiple chances, and she repaid you by being cruel every single time. The way she talks about you screams insecurity and jealousy. You're not the problem, she is. Keeping her out of your wedding isn't punishment. It's the only way to keep her from poisoning what should be a joyful day. Definitely not the a-hole. Brianna has been toxic from day one, and clearly has deep-seated issues she refuses to address. You can't fix someone who doesn't want to change, and it's not your responsibility to tolerate her just because she's family. The way she disrespected your mom's memory and tried to humiliate you says everything about her character. She thrives on drama and conflict because it keeps her in the spotlight. Disinviting her is the best gift you can give yourself. You're choosing happiness and peace over chaos and guilt, and that's something your mom would be proud of. Update 1. After thinking about it long and hard, I've made my decision. I don't want Brianna's negativity at my wedding. I refuse to let her drama overshadow what is supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. Brianna is the type of person who will always find something negative to say, no matter how perfect or beautiful something is. It's just who she is. She thrives on pointing out flaws, tearing people down, and making everything about her. And let me be clear for those wondering. No, Brianna has not apologized for what she said. Not even close. And honestly, I know she never will. Every time she insults me, she acts like she's doing me some big favor by being honest. In her mind, she's not being cruel. She's just saying it like it is. She actually believes she has some kind of God-given right to talk to me however she pleases, no matter how nasty or unnecessary her comments are. She doesn't care if she hurts me. She doesn't care if she makes me feel like garbage. My emotions do not matter to her, and if I call her out, if I tell her she's crossed the line, she just rolls her eyes and calls me overly sensitive or immature for not being able to handle the truth. That's not honesty. That's cruelty. Now, I do appreciate Clara for always standing up for me when Brianna crosses the line. I know that she genuinely cares about me. But at the same time, I also know that Clara is someone who values peace above everything else. She wants everyone to just get along, to keep things calm, to avoid conflict at all costs. That's why no matter how many times Brianna treats me like garbage, Claire always comes back with the same suggestion. Just sit down and talk it out with her. Maybe if you two talk, things will get better. But this time, I'm not doing that. I have spent years putting up with Brianna's attitude, years brushing off her insults, swallowing my anger, and pretending it didn't bother me. Years trying to be civil for the sake of keeping the peace. I have had enough. This is my wedding, my special day, and I refuse to let someone as bitter and miserable as Brianna have any part in it. Update 2. This week, Brianna gave me a call. I had recently removed her from my group chat about wedding discussions. Not just because of what happened with the dress, but because none of my friends wanted her there either. We all agreed that her negative energy wasn't something we wanted to deal with. This was supposed to be an exciting time, and Brianna had already shown that she couldn't be happy for me. I guess she must have noticed she was removed, because she called me acting all casual and asked if I was still upset with her after our last meeting. I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction of thinking she had that much power over me. So I simply responded in a nonchalant tone. "We aren't really close enough for me to be upset with you." She snorted, clearly irritated, and then went on to say that her comments about the wedding dress had nothing to do with me. According to her, as a well-wisher, she was simply looking out for me and didn't want me to look ugly on my wedding day. I stayed completely calm and pointed out the obvious. I'm 5'8" and thin and blonde. I don't look bad in any dress. So, it's impossible that my mother's beautiful wedding dress will make me look ugly in any way. Brianna was quiet for a second, but then she switched gears. She suddenly started bragging about how she had already picked out her outfit for my wedding and how it was going to be extremely gorgeous. Then, she confidently added that she was sure my outfit would pale in comparison to hers. At that moment, I realized that Brianna wasn't just mean. She was downright jealous. She wasn't upset because she cared about how I looked on my big day. She was upset because, for once, she wasn't the center of attention. It wasn't about the dress or even about me. It was about her and her constant need to one-up people. Brianna, still as arrogant as ever, snarkily said that I shouldn't blame her if she ended up overshadowing me on my wedding day because, according to her, her outfit was 100 times better than mine. I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, seriously, this was supposed to be my wedding. And here she was acting like it was some sort of competition. Without missing a beat, I simply asked her, "Who says you're even invited to the wedding anymore?" That shut her up for a second. Then I calmly told her, "I've already made up my mind. I don't want you at my wedding, so don't worry about overshadowing me because that's never going to happen." This wasn't just about the dress or her latest round of cruel comments. This was about everything. The constant negativity, the snide remarks, the jealousy, the way she always found a way to belittle me whenever she got the chance. I was done. "I'm not going to deal with your drama on my wedding day," I continued. "I don't need your negativity, your childish outbursts, or your desperate attempts to make everything about you." She let out a scoff, but I didn't stop. "None of my friends or family even like you anyway," I said bluntly. "So, honestly, you not being there would be the best wedding gift you could possibly give me." That's when she lost it. Brianna started furiously arguing, saying that I had no right to disinvite her and that as my sister, she deserved to be there. I just rolled my eyes and told her, "You're my stepsister, and even then, you barely qualify as one." Before she could launch into another angry rant, I hung up. I didn't need to hear her continue screeching about how unfairly she was being treated, or how I was so dramatic for setting boundaries she never thought I'd enforce. I had nothing else to say, and honestly, I don't regret my decision one bit. If anything, I feel relieved. My wedding is going to be drama-free and filled with people who actually love and support me. And that's exactly how it should be. Update 3. For everyone asking, no, my dad has absolutely no issues with me disinviting Brianna. He completely understands why I made this decision and fully supports me. As for Clara, she did reach out to me, probably hoping to change my mind, but I put my foot down. I told her very clearly that this was my wedding day, and I deserved to be surrounded by people who were supportive and genuinely happy for me. Brianna is not one of those people. She has never supported me, never been kind to me, and I refuse to have someone like her at my wedding, bringing in negativity. Clara tried to discuss it at first, but in the end, she saw my point of view and agreed that I was making the right choice for myself. She didn't push the issue further, and I appreciate that. Regardless of Brianna not being invited, Clara will still be attending my wedding, which I'm happy about. At the end of the day, this is about celebrating love, joy, and new beginnings, and I refuse to let Brianna or anyone like her take that away from me. Meanwhile, Brianna has been blowing up my phone with non-stop texts. She is furious about being disinvited and keeps saying that she feels insulted for not being part of my wedding celebration anymore. She wants me to get over her mean comments and learn to take it as a joke. But here's where it gets even better. She has now started demanding that I pay her back for the dress she bought for my wedding if she is no longer invited. I was already rolling my eyes at this, but I decided to humor her and asked her to send me a picture of the price tag. And that's when I noticed something that completely shocked me. The dress she bought to wear for my wedding was white. I immediately asked her if she was seriously planning to wear a white dress to my wedding. This made me even more glad that I had kicked her out of the celebrations. Otherwise, she would have turned up to my wedding in white. The nerve. Instead of feeling embarrassed or apologizing, she doubled down and argued with me. She said that these weren't some olden times where only the bride was allowed to wear white. According to her, she just really liked the dress and didn't even notice that it was white. Yeah, right. At that point, I had enough. I outright refused to pay for the dress and told her, "You should save it for yourself in case you ever find someone who would actually marry you, because there is no way in hell I'm paying for that dress." She kept arguing, trying to guilt-trip me and make it seem like I was being unreasonable for not sending her any money. But I wasn't about to waste another second on her nonsense, so I blocked her. Update 4. It's been a while since I updated anything here. I just had my wedding. I still can't believe how amazing everything turned out. The ceremony was absolutely beautiful. From the stunning venue to the heartfelt vows my partner and I exchanged, it truly felt like a fairy tale. The entire day was filled with love, laughter, and genuine happiness. I was surrounded by the people who truly cared about me, who had been by my side through everything, and who wanted nothing more than to see me happy. The reception was even better than I had imagined. The decorations were breathtaking, the food was delicious, and the music kept everyone on the dance floor. My friends and family were having a fantastic time celebrating the start of this new chapter in my life. I felt so incredibly loved and supported. And then Brianna happened. Just when I thought the night couldn't get any better, she decided to crash my wedding. I don't know what I was expecting after cutting her out of my wedding plans, but I never thought she would have the audacity to show up uninvited. And not just as a guest. Oh no, Brianna had to make an entrance that no one would forget. Out of nowhere, she walked into the reception wearing a wedding dress. Yes, you read that right. Brianna showed up to my wedding reception in a white wedding dress. The same dress she had bought before. The one she had demanded I pay for. The one she had lied about, pretending she didn't realize it was white. As soon as she walked in, the entire room fell silent. People stopped eating, stopped dancing, and just stared at her in shock. It was like something out of a bad reality TV show. The audacity of this girl. She walked in smugly as if she thought she was about to steal the spotlight. As if this was some kind of competition. as if she wasn't completely humiliating herself in front of a room full of people. My dad and Clara were the first to react. They immediately stepped forward, cutting through the silence, and told her outright that she needed to leave. No arguing, no discussion, just leave. Clara kept telling her that she had no right to be here and that they could talk after the wedding if she had anything to say. And that's when Brianna completely lost it. She started screaming full-on dramatic tantrum in the middle of my wedding reception. She yelled about how my dad and Clara always favor me, how they treat me better than her, and how she was just as much a part of this family as I was. People were horrified. My friends and family just stood there wide-eyed, exchanging looks of disbelief. Even the DJ had stopped the music. At that moment, it became painfully clear this had nothing to do with my wedding. This was about her. This was about her deep-seated resentment toward me. Brianna had always been bitter about my relationship with my dad. Unlike her, I had a father who truly loved and supported me. Her own father barely acknowledged her existence. And deep down, I think she has always hated me for having something she didn't. It ate her up inside that Clara, her mother, actually cared about me, treated me with kindness, and included me in her life. And now here I was getting married, building a beautiful future, surrounded by love and happiness, while she was still stuck in the same toxic cycle of anger and bitterness. And she couldn't handle it. She wanted to ruin my night. She wanted to make me feel small, to embarrass me, to steal attention away from me. But the only person she humiliated was herself. My dad, Clara, and a few other guests escorted her out as she continued yelling about how unfairly she was treated. She was kicking and screaming like a child throwing a tantrum at a birthday party. It was honestly pathetic to watch. That left a sour taste in our mouths. But even with that interruption, people still seemed to continue to have a great time at our wedding. After everything that's happened, after all the drama Brianna's already caused, she has somehow managed to make herself the victim yet again. Apparently, she reached out to Clara and gave her own mother an ultimatum. According to Brianna, my dad and I embarrassed her by not inviting her to the wedding and also kicking her out when she showed up uninvited in a white dress. She feels humiliated and like a laughingstock to the rest of the family. Hence, she demanded Clara divorce my dad and cut off all contact with us, or else she will completely cut Clara out of her life. The entitlement is unreal. Clara, of course, was devastated. She tried everything to pacify Brianna. She explained that Brianna's own actions led to all of this. She tried to reason with her, tried to make her see that she wasn't some innocent victim, that she had been cruel, disrespectful, and had outright tried to ruin my wedding. But Brianna didn't want to hear any of it. She refused to take responsibility, refused to acknowledge her behavior, and instead doubled down on her demands. She sees my dad and me as the villains in her story, and in her mind, the only way for Clara to prove her love is by choosing her over us. In the end, Clara made the hardest decision of her life. She decided to take some time away from Brianna. She told her that she loved her more than anything, but she couldn't continue enabling this toxic behavior. She couldn't keep sacrificing her marriage, her happiness, and her own sense of peace just to cater to Brianna's never-ending demands. Brianna, of course, lost it. She accused Clara of being a traitor, of always choosing my dad and me over her, and of being a terrible mother. Then she stormed off and cut contact. I know this is heartbreaking for Clara. She has tried so hard for years. She has been patient with Brianna, hoping that therapy would help, that maturity would bring some change, and that eventually Brianna would see that she doesn't need to be so hateful. But no matter how much effort Clara has put in, Brianna has never once tried to change. Honestly, I just feel sad for Clara. I hope she finally realizes that she can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed.